On today's show of OutlookTV, celebrity dim sums.
Stack the rack with wine.
Queer Hall of Fame. One of our own gets inducted.
Welcome to Outlook TV. I'm Rebecca Wyman.
And I'm Dan Doomshaw. Welcome to this second show in October where, oh boy, do we have fun for you.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. We start off in Toronto, where the Queer Hall of Fame has inducted some new members.
Including one of our very own.
Gorgeous brings us more.
We're here in Toronto at this year's must-attend event, the Q Hall of Fame, a biennial celebration of human rights.
I'm very happy to have you here tonight. I'm your hostess. If there's anything I can do to make your journey with us this evening much more pleasurable, talk to the gorgeous queen over to my left.
This year's event is hosted by the unstoppable Connie Smudge, with live performances by jazz sensation Vancouver's own Jaylene Stonehouse, Calgarian country singer Patrick Massey,
swaying room as the music starts, strangers making the most of the time,
and Toronto's singer-songwriter, pianist extraordinaire Jeffrey Straker.
Tonight is really about our heroes, our community heroes. So everybody who we induct into the Q Hall of Fame has been nominated by community members from across Canada. All of those nominations are vetted by an independent selection committee. This last one, there was 20 people in that committee from people across the country. They select who's to be inducted in the Hall of Fame, and tonight is really just a celebration of their history and of their accomplishments and really exploring the wonderful things that they've done.
Gay men and women were still jailed in Europe after the war. Thank you, Penny. The last being released in 1969. You see, it was still illegal to be gay in most of Europe and the rest of the world. And the Allies would not justify releasing homosexuals from the camps at the end of the war. For gay men and women, we were labeled as mentally ill. We wore scarves in our back pockets, developed our own set of signals, because to identify ourselves in public, but we were never allowed to engage each other on the street as gay men and women.
Now, Jack would have been very proud to be part of this amazing group of inductees that I see here.
The Q Hall of Fame is really, at the end of the day, not just about remembering history, it's about setting examples that human rights and equality for all is the most important thing.
A man named John Reed who created an infamous nightclub called Flashback, where outcasts were not only welcomed, but preferred. It was 30 years ago that I stepped onto that stage and found a place where I thrived, side by side with some of the wildest queens I will ever have the pleasure of knowing. The years I spent performing on that stage showed me that every life is a work of art, and every piece of art changes the world.
And the 25th anniversary of
Guys in Disguise.
this year.
25 years
Congratulations on
ago,
that.
we actually took the first drag show from the gay bars to the surface of the Fringe festivals in Canada, and we've been doing festivals at the Fringe for the 25 years since. So yeah, this was our big quarter century, which means I'm officially an old bitch. Officially.
I've thought for many years that the reason so many heterosexuals find us appalling is that they have learned to be decently ashamed of their own sexuality, and so how on earth could we be proud of ours? I mean, it just doesn't seem fair. And I've wanted to recommend a straight Pride Day, so that... Because I think heterosexuality is just another way of loving. I don't see any shame in it at all. And some of my best friends and even my parents are heterosexual.
Dear Q Hall of Fame, we are delighted to see Jane Rule inducted into the Q Hall of Fame. She is a figure of lasting importance to lesbians and gay men. She made a lifelong contribution to the broader understanding and to the advancement of human rights for our communities.
I do what I do simply because it is who I am. I have never believed myself to be anything better or less than anyone else around me. I believe we are all one community, all equal, and should look out for each other and help those less fortunate or in need. And I truly do believe that, as corny as it sounds, that is indeed the case.
So many words and wonderful, wonderful things said throughout the evening, but bookmarked, definitely the Reverend Brenton speaking with regards to the Eastern Bloc and the wedding ring, and of course Ted's amazing speech that makes us all realize just how lucky we are to reap the benefits of those people before us that paved the way for us to be able to have the rights and privileges we have now in our country.
I've been the pastor of the church for 36 years.
And how has the face of the church and the face of the community changed in that time?
It's amazing, you know, it's a phenomenal part of history because you've been around long enough, you can see the awful days in terms of no human rights. People could be fired from their jobs, could be denied access to their partners in the hospital. And to see where we are today, where we have full equality in the law for gays and lesbians, not yet for transgender, but for gays and lesbians. Full marriage, so people can choose to marry if they want to or not. So it's been phenomenal changes that we've seen in these years.
And up next, we're going to bring you a little bit of international flair.
That's right. Not every country has a queer Hall of Fame. In fact, it's hard to be gay in many places of the world.
And our reporter Gary is going to talk to several people about what it's like to live somewhere other than Canada.
In Canada, LGBT people enjoy openness, gay marriage, and many rights. We spoke to LGBT people in other countries who do not enjoy the same openness. We started in the Muslim country of Turkey and the famous city of Istanbul.
I know that same-sex marriage is legal in Canada, and that is something that even though we support in Turkey, that's not really one of our priorities in Turkey because there are more important issues that we have to deal with. Other things like, you know, employment security and even freedom from police harassment and all that kind of stuff is more urgent issues for us.
It's forbidden and unnormal. Transgender journalist, and I was working for nightclubs for the club manager, and then 4 months ago I found a TV reporter job. I'm living a big apartment out of the city center with 20 transgender people, and 5 days ago some Turkish people got fired our apartments, and 4 flats has burned. When I was wake up and I'm saying, oh, I'm living today, not die, I'm lucky woman, because every day we can die in this country because the hate can kill us.
In Budapest, Hungary, Tamas gives some insight into their changing politics.
The European Union is very keen on human rights issues before a country joins the EU. So then they are, you know, as part of the accession process, they are monitoring the human rights situation in a country. And once you join the EU, of course, there is the formal requirements that EU law requires from you. But other than that, there is no monitoring of what's happening. This conservative government is not only doing things which are harming the rights of LGBT people, but generally speaking, its human rights record is awful. Every month or every second month, you get some kind of statement from a politician that, you know, LGBT people should not be given the same rights that the general population enjoys.
At Stadtfest in Berlin, we met Russian visitor Manny Daguerre, founder of Russia's LGBT Film Festival.
Now there is much more open criticism against the festival, far-right groups, orthodox religious groups. They threaten festival organisers, volunteers, and the situation is becoming more and more difficult. Last October we had over 2,300 people come to the festival, and 30% of the audience is straight. We helped to show Xavier Dolan his film, so if we show that this year, perhaps the Canadian Embassy can support us with that.
This is Gary Wolfhader for OutlookTV in front of Berlin's Gay Holocaust Memorial.
Well, we're going to have to take a little bit of a break now, but don't go anywhere.
That's right. Yeah, we're watching.
Thanks for joining us. You're watching Outlook TV.
Yes, and as a reward, we've got another story for you. AIDS Vancouver was up to their fundraising efforts again, getting celebrities to serve dim sum.
God, I love dim sum.
When you're done with your food, put it on the side of your plate. You don't put it on your bowl. And that's just some basic etiquette.
Can you tell us a little bit about what the dim sum event is about?
Our Celebrity Dim Sum event is an event in which various local Vancouver celebrities serve dim sum to our guests. We have people such as Fred Lee and Deborah Moore, our hosts, Hazard Jacobson, who is Miss Canada Globe, Fiona Forbes from The Rush, Mary Zilba from The Real Housewives of Vancouver. Huge range of celebrities have come down to join us today.
I saw you serving up some dim sum just a moment ago. Great job.
Thank you, because I was actually kind of nervous about it because I'm very, very clumsy by nature, and I'm just glad that I didn't get the soup because that was the most complicated. But we got all the dumplings out to everybody.
Well, it looked like you're doing a great job. Now, have you been involved in this event before, or is this your first time?
This is my first time at this event, and I'm a good friend of Fred Lee, who put this event together, and I was so honored that he asked me to be a part of it because it's for such an amazing cause.
Can you tell us a little bit about what the dim sum event is about?
It really was the initiative between Tasha Chu and myself. We thought, we should do a dim sum event. So that idea was hatched 7 years ago, and ever since we have been hosting Celebrity Dim Sum in support of AIDS Vancouver's Asian Outreach Project.
I know you've been very supportive in a lot of advocacy programs.
I truly believe that we need to give so much more support to organizations like this, and I'm one that really wants to spread the word that we need to start raising more and more money, because at one point AIDS used to be something that was kind of the buzz charity of the day, and now it's kind of backed off, and other charities have kind of come into that big #1 spot. And I think people really need to realize that AIDS is one of those diseases that is absolutely debilitating, and we need to pay more attention to it.
For OutlookTV, this is Angus Pratt in Vancouver.
You may remember that last month in September, we brought you a story about how Vancouver held a Kissin in support for LGBTQ rights in Russia. Well, the idea has caught on globally.
Yep, there's going to be another one, a bigger one, an international one.
The Kissin was held outside the Russian consulate in support of LGBTQ Russians.
It started in the summer, and I saw a Kissin protest in BuzzFeed in Russia, and it got shut down within like 2 seconds. And I thought it was a great way to organize something to fight hate with love, and that's the way I approach things anyway. Like, it's not, you don't have to stage a protest, you don't have to do something elaborate or big. Like, even just you kissing somebody, preferably of the same sex, and just blast it all over social media. What happened if the whole world do something like that? You don't even have to be gay, like you can just do whatever it is that is considered as a propaganda in Russia, and see how it goes.
For Katerina, living in Russia was not easy.
I left Russia in 1998. I was just turned 19 years old. However, at that time, in my experience, what I witnessed, there was 2 girls kissing in a high school, and I believe one of them was expelled for doing so. And after conversations about this incident with my high school classmates, I got the impression that they absolutely think it's abnormal.
Katerina believes the anti-gay movement is propagated by the Russian government.
They should do their own research, because it sounds like they just manipulated by the government, and they painting the very negative picture of gay culture and gay society. And it's not so, and I'm sure every single Russian person who is considered themselves heterosexual, they have a gay friend. The only reason they don't know about it because they will never come out to them, because they know how they think of them. And that's that situation. If they can put aside that this person is gay and just view them as they already know them, then it shouldn't make any difference.
One of the more colorful poster campaigns is directed right at Putin.
We marched with it this summer in Pride. One of our members came up with it as a way to protest and bring some of the activism back to Pride against how our brothers and sisters are being treated in Russia.
And a sister has words for Putin.
Putin, you can do better. You can do better. You can spread love and not hate against a minority and the population.
For OutlookTV, this is Monica in Vancouver.
Love is love. It doesn't matter what kind of love it is.
Rebecca, you are going to love this next story.
Oh, am I?
Oh yeah, it is hot, it's cool, it's up, it's down, it's old, it's new, it's fresh, it's moldy. Just watch.
Joseph!
Between October 23rd and November 3rd, Raving Theatre will put on the production of My Big Gay Italian Wedding at the Culch here in Vancouver.
Where did this show originate and what brought it back this year?
It started off Broadway in the sort of early 2000s, and it's been running and getting great reviews and just sort of picking up steam over the last 10 years or so. It is based in New York, and that is where it's set as well as set in Brooklyn. We decided to do this show because we were looking for something that would be really fun and a good way to sort of celebrate our 10th year.
Who exactly do you have in the cast this year?
Well, this year in the cast, there are some sort of fellow Raving Theatre members who we've been in the last 4 or 5 shows. Larry Colsey is one of them, Kathleen Driscoll, myself, Matthew Fedorovich, who is also one of the stars of the show, Brian Kelly, who's joining us from a previous show, Memoirs of a Single Gay White Male. And I believe that's it for the sort of core Raving members.
Not even for me, not even for you.
Does the space allow for interactivity with the audience?
Yes, it does. Yeah, we do have that happening in the show quite a few times, actually, especially with Larry. He brings people on, and we have a few comments happening right to them. Yeah, it is a great intimate venue for what we have in mind. It makes everybody as a guest at our wedding, so they all feel part of the fun. They're part of the party.
And it shouldn't matter if I'm gay or straight, and if me falling in love and getting married.
You had seen this play in England, and it really made you excited?
I was in London a year and a half ago. I saw it at a little theatre in Greenwich, and this was a company that had been touring the UK, and this was the last stop. And I couldn't believe the energy level of this company. They were out in the audience, before the show started and everything. And I was just peeing myself at the end of the show, and we were laughing all the way home. I got right on Facebook and sent a note to David Blue, at Raving, and I said, we got to do this play. And he said, you know what, Matthew mentioned that to me as well. We got to look at this. And I said to my friend as we were coming out of the show, I said, it would be so great to do this show, and would I ever love to play Maurizio Legrande? And so I got them both, yeah.
We are a Catholic family, and that is how I raised you.
For OutlookTV, this is Ray Clark.
I don't even know if we can get married in church. You can get married at Bocce's, but only if Father Rosalia performs the service. I will not allow this.
Well, it's that time again. We're going to need to take a break.
Like the Canadian Parliament, we're pro-Rogan and still get paid.
This show, it means a lot to us. It's a lot of fun.
Hedwig and the Angry Inch is playing at the Cobalt until November 2nd. This one is a must-see. Randy Parliament is no stranger to Hedwig on his 3rd time producing this show. This time, he is excited to announce 2 new talents.
Ryan Alexander McDonald and Lee McEwen, Hedwig and Yitzhak respectively, are phenomenal. They're probably the best 2 actors I've ever worked with, and they pay so much tribute and so much respect to Hedwig. I'm honored every time I get to see them.
Known for its fun dance events, it may seem like an unusual spot to hold a musical. It was a perfect spot for Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
The piece calls for it. It can't be in a lavish theater. It has to be bare bones, because it's one night on Hedwig's tour across America. And so this has to represent the type of venue that Hedwig would be in.
Has a celebrated history as
A musical just isn't complete without a message to take away.
Honesty and love.
I realized that
Hedwig is often played by an actor with a certain body type. With that, Ryan was surprised to find out he was cast for the role.
It's not typically cast as a person of my body type. It's usually someone a lot more slender and taller. So, I didn't think they'd go with me, but I had previous drag experience, and so I thought I'd give it a shot. I thought that was kind of my one saving grace in the audition, was that I knew the songs really well, and that I probably had more drag experience than most of the other guys in the room. So, I thought, fingers crossed, and sure enough, yeah, it worked out.
Ryan and Lee had to completely transform in order to reflect their character's persona. Both agree that the process felt right.
It's different than most roles that I play, just because Hedwig's got such a mask, like all the makeup and the costume and everything. It's the one kind of role that you do, and when I look at myself in the mirror, it's hard to recognize myself. and I kind of feel that mask when I'm up there. It's not, I don't feel like it's me playing a character as much. I just feel like Hedwig, which is really strange. But I think the story of Hedwig has had such a natural progression of how she came from a boy to become Hedwig that, yeah, it's not that weird.
It's more of a feeling. The music really takes you, and I find that because the music itself, I have to sing it in an actual woman's register, so I still have to stand there like a man and be strong and really taught in how I stand and how my movement is, but then I'm still singing like a woman, so it's different, but it still feels right.
Changing voices comes naturally to Ryan.
I've kind of always just played with voices when I was younger. Hedwig for me is the most foreign of all the characters as an actor, like, because I think Tommy is probably the one that's most like me. And so I find that playing them really easy. Actually, it was Hedwig that took the most work, but just having been so familiar with all the music and the movie beforehand, it really helped to like find that character.
For Vancouver, BC, this is Gary CJV for OutlookTV.
Our next story brings us to the Rosewood Hotel, where Community held a fundraiser.
And they call it Stack the Rack. What does that mean, Dan?
Well, it means that whiners are gonna love it.
Really?
It has vino.
We're here with tons of exhibitors. Tell us a bit about Community.
We are BC's Queer Resource Center. We were established in 1979, so we've been around for 34 years. And what we do is offer community programs, education and training, and advocacy for LGBTQ folks and our allies. Tonight is just a super fun night. So Stack the Rack is our annual wine tasting shopping fundraiser. And what we do is we partner with Van City and Marquee Wine Cellars to curate 25 different wines in the room that people can have for the evening. There's unlimited tasting, there's some beautiful canapes being circulated, and then we're going to have a live auction in order to generate funds to support communities' programs.
Can you tell us a proper way to taste a wine?
A proper way to taste wine, if you really want to get to go around and taste all what the event has to offer. So try a little bit, smell it first, really get your nose into the glass, try to smell what it's telling you. Some people before like to look at the color. Then you taste it, you put it around your mouth. The tongue, has different segments of what is sweet and sour, and people would know what they like, right? It's a very personal affair.
700, we had card up at 600, let's go 700 now.
Well, I actually had Dara, who's the executive director, reach out to me, and knew that through my connection with Face the World Foundation, found out that I was also an auctioneer, and just wanted to see if I was interested in supporting the event.
Face the World Foundation really actually looks
As well as auctioneering tonight, you also surprised everyone.
I am secretary to the board and assistant with Face the World Foundation. We're a nonprofit here in Vancouver, and we generally support grassroots, local charities, more core centered to Vancouver, and communities exactly that. Hugely volunteer-based, and that's a big heartstring for us, is that people running the organization. And well, they just really need our help. And we know that $10,000 is a significant portion of the help they need, so we're happy to give it.
Tell us a bit about why you were drawn to Community and why you're here to help out this evening.
Well, I have a history. In my boy life, I work with a theater company called ZZ Theater, who has had a long affiliation with Community. They've been our community partner from the beginning, and they sort of help audiences find out about the kind of work we're doing, which is work generally geared at the queer community and other marginalized communities. And so I've been a long supporter of everything that Community stands for, everything they're offering to the broader queer community, and I thought, well, if I can do something to help out, I will be there.
For Outlook TV, this has been Trevor Kozlov.
After the International Design Show, there were some parties that were to die for.
Or at least faint on your couch for.
That's right, Montauk Sofa threw a party, and it was Shays cool. Stephen Schelling brings us behind the scenes.
We're at the tail end of another successful Vancouver Design Week. This year we had IDS West, which is the Interior Design Show West, as well as Men's Fashion Week and Vancouver Fashion Week, all within 10 days of each other. But as it is with every year, the big party to end all parties is the Montauk Sofa Party. So let's take a look inside.
It's the Vancouver Fashion Week, it's the IDS West, it's kind of a mix of all of those things together, and then they are very, very smart because every year, and during this whole thing that is happening in Vancouver, they do this amazing party that everybody wants to be invited. Not everybody makes it. I'm glad I'm here. It's great.
Everything can be an inspiration. Sometimes it's a fabric, some other time it's going to be the piece itself, or sometimes it's an old classic that you like but you want to tweak. So I think everything is inspiration.
It's the closing out of IDS West and Bubbles and Beautiful People.
Well, get inside then.
Well, thank you very much.
Good night. And with that, another Vancouver Design Week comes to a stylish close. Well, we've got some partying to do, so we better go. This party lasted till 8 in the morning last year, so we've got a lot of catching up to do. For Outlook TV, this is Stephen Schelling.
Well, we've come to that time again. We're out of time.
But we will be back next month with queer stories to fascinate and titillate.
And until then, why don't you like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or come join our team?
That's right. We are looking for more volunteers just like you.
Just like you.
For Outlook TV, I'm Dan Doomshaw.
And I'm Rebecca Wyman. Thanks so much for joining us.
Stay fabulous, Canada.